info you see on the screen there as well. We are the founders of Social News Desk. As I was talking earlier, Elisa and I both worked in television news for about 10 years each. That was actually where we met, working as executive producers at WJXT in Jacksonville, Florida. So our background is very much working in television newsrooms, and we feel that that is our main strength when it comes to our company and our software product, because it truly has been designed by news people for news people. I know that you all have been evaluating quite a few different solutions for social media, and when you take a look at ours, what I think you will find is that we look at things from a more strategical sense. We understand what your goals are as journalists and as news organizations, and we understand that those goals are different from what a small business or a brand goals would be. And as a result, our product works differently. The best practices we enforce are different. Our tools are different. It's meant to work at a different pace, which is, as we all know, newsrooms are different from any other type of environment on the planet. And so as a result, we really use that knowledge that we have of newsrooms to build this product, and we hope that you'll really see the differences. So I'll start here with my PowerPoint. You all can see that screen okay? Good. All right, so there's a few goals that Social News Desk really lays out, which we believe are shared goals. So increasing ratings and promoting the broadcast, obviously we all want to do that. Driving traffic to your station's website in a very strategic fashion. Creating new sales opportunities, and those are direct ROI opportunities. Building fans and followers, because we know that building that community and making that bigger is going to lead to really being able to achieve a lot of these goals. And then making the reporters and the producers in the newsroom, the daily news staff, more efficient. And then improving best practice consistency. So, identifying what best practices are, and then making sure that, everyone within the news organization understands and follows through on those. So Social News Desk is made up of a few different things. We have a suite of social news apps. We also have our dashboard posting platform, and that's where posts actually happen within the newsroom. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just go ahead and show you live some of the apps. So we feel like these really make us stand out from other platforms, because the apps that we create are not standard Facebook apps. We create apps with newsrooms in mind. So for example, this is our landing tab. So this isn't going to just be a way for you to upload a static graphic. Instead, we want this to be a dynamic, interesting, engaging experience for your users. We populate this dynamically through RSS feeds. So we pull those from your website, and that way the news here is always fresh. So anytime someone hears a call to action on your broadcast, goes to visit your Facebook page and sees it for the first time, sees this landing tab, they're engaged, excited, and they're really motivated to click that like button. So this is completely customizable. So you upload your graphics, and we're careful not to cannibalize your web content. All of these stories are really just short summaries of the story, and then you would click read more, and that would go to your website for the full story. Another app, which we actually recently just revealed this past month, is our elections app. So this is a choose your candidate style app. This is on one of our stations, the Fox News Chicago station. And the great thing about this is that it's fully customizable. So all the graphics that you see here were uploaded by the station. So this banner is something they created. The banners on the left and right were banners they created. And this is also going to be a fan-gated app. So in order for any user to interact with it, they have to first click like. So that's going to help the station get fans. And then on top of that, again, choose your candidate. All this stuff is customizable. So the user comes here because you've promoted the fact that you're going to help them choose their candidate. And you're going to help them do that on the state, local, and national level. So you're going to actually be able to go in here and customize this for all of the races that matter to your area. So you can put in, even if it's an exciting city commission race, or whatever it is that's interesting, all of those races go in here. So the user would click start now. These have just been used for the primary, so there's not very many races in here, as you can see, but theoretically you would add additional races to it. So this would be a menu of different state, local, and national races. For the sake of this demo, I'll just click this one, which is the president. So the next thing that the user would do is come through and take a short quiz on their views of the issues. And they would fill out, how they feel about all these different things. and then the software would match their responses on the issues to the candidate's responses and spit out some candidate who matches most closely with that viewer. So the viewer would be able to come away from this and say, okay, based on the issues, I should vote for candidate X. And the other thing that we're going to do here is strategically drive traffic to your website. So each of these candidates is clickable. And if I click him, that's going to go to a page on your website that you specify. So theoretically, that would be, in this case, the Newt Gingrich bio page on your website, or at least the page that has information about that race. Same with this Learn More link here. And then we're also going to allow the user to share the result. So if they click Share Result, it's going to pop open a Facebook dialog box that's going to allow me to type in something like, hey, cool, I just picked my candidate, whatever. And all of this is going to be customizable too. So it's going to mention your station, your brand, and this image is going to be an image that you chose. And so as you know, with Facebook, what will happen is you'll start to get a great amount of viral reach happening and lots of people interacting with this app, and therefore becoming engaged with your brand and understanding more about your elections coverage, and therefore hopefully tuning in as well. So that's our elections app. The last step, incidentally, is to choose another race, in which case it would funnel them back through to choose, one of the remaining races that they haven't looked at yet. So they'll spend a lot of time here. And the other thing that is pretty amazing about this is that because each of these banners is customizable by you, you could include sponsorship there. So if you wanted an overarching sponsor for the elections app, or you wanted sponsor banners on the left and right here, you could definitely do that. And these are going to click through to whatever URL you specify, and we're going to count the number of times those are clicked and allow you to download a report. So you can give that report to your sponsor. So that's our elections app. The next one we'll look at is one of our contesting apps. So this is actually a little bit different from your traditional contesting app. We call this a website treasure hunt app. So we do have an app which allows you to just do a simple contest where you gather information from someone, they click like, and they're entered to win something. Standard. You upload graphics. But this is a second type of contest, and this is something that, again, you'll only find at Social News Desk. And the concept is that we want to allow you to get new fans because it's fan gated, but we also want you to be able to get those people acclimated to your website and begin to have them engage with your web properties. So here's how we're going to do it. It's going to be fan gated. You'll upload this graphic. So in this case, they uploaded this Hardee's contest. So I'm forced to click like as the first step. The next step is that another custom graphic comes up and it says click to play. So from this step forward, this is going to be a customizable quiz that you ask the question, you put in the answer choices, you can upload a custom graphic instead of this little guy with the question mark. This station just doesn't have one, but you can also upload a custom banner. And then this get the hint button is going to be a URL that you specify. So theoretically, the user comes in, they read the question, they don't know the answer, so they click get the hint. And that's going to go to the page on your website where the answer can be found. So it's kind of like a treasure hunt. So they're going to find, answers to news trivia or sports trivia or sponsor trivia if you wanted to tie this into a sponsor and charge them for it, or what have you. And then I would come back in and I would put in the answer to the quiz question and click submit answer. And then at that point, you can do some data collection. You can ask for a first name, last name, email address, age, gender, whatever additional data you want to ask for. And then the last step would be that as a user, I can share this contest with my friends and again, get that viral reach going. So it's just a new twist kind of on your basic contest, but you can do up to 10 questions. So theoretically, if you had a really big prize and your goal was really to drive a lot of traffic to your website, you could use this to do so, driving 10 clicks at a time for every single person who enters. So it's a really interesting way to get people over to your website. Another app I'll show you is our Question of the Day app. So this is actually called a wall app. So unlike the apps that I've shown you and probably most apps that you've ever seen, those are canvas apps, meaning that someone has to decide to go to your page. They have to decide to click on that little icon on the left that has the contest or whatever app it is. And so they're required to take a couple of actions. But what we're doing here is a push rather than a pull. So in the same way that every time you put out a post, it's seen by all of your fans, this particular app instantly goes out through the news stream. So if you put out this question, it pops up in everybody's news stream just like a normal post. And it looks about like this. You customize the question, and this graphic which says click here to answer is customizable as well. So that can have station branding or sponsor branding or anything like that. And when the user clicks here to answer. It pops up a nice box that has, again, the question and answer choices that you specified, as well as a spot for a banner on the left. So in this case, they just have branding, but you could have a sponsor in there if you wanted, or again, you could just have station branding, and that can click through to whatever URL you specify. And then this section here is what we call a web tease. So, with Facebook polling and Facebook's questions feature, if you use that, the problem is sometimes you put out a poll or a question to your viewers, and if somebody doesn't know anything about that topic and they're intrigued, well, now you've invited them to go Google the topic and read it on someone else's website, which is certainly not what we want to do. We want to make sure that interested people are viewing our content on our website. So as a result, we put in this web tease sentence, so you can customize this to say whatever you want. You can say, click here to read more about topic X, or click here for 50% off of such and such if you want to tie in a sponsor or what have you. And then that'll click through to whatever link you specify as well, and we'll count the number of times those are clicked too. So this is a look of some of our apps. Again, another great thing, as I mentioned, because Elisa and I have such a rich history working in the newsroom, we're very consultative. We're, constantly on the phone with our clients, and, not just helping you get, the nuts and bolts set up, but really helping you strategically to come up with contest ideas. How could it work? How could we make this a watch to win contest? How can we drive viewership with this? And just be a sounding board for you so that you can, have the benefit of our knowledge across a whole bunch of different stations, so that you can have the most effective contests possible. So that's another thing that we really provide, and we've spoken to Lisa about setting up a group consultation call. So perhaps once a month or something like that, we would basically bring whoever wanted to jump on the call, and we would have a call about educational topics in social media, about contest ideas, just anything to make sure that we have, an avenue to discuss and learn amongst each other and to really improve social media strategy across the group. So those are kind of a look at the apps. The next piece is the dashboard publisher. So this, again, is kind of where the magic happens in the newsroom. This is where posting and commenting and engagement and all that is going to happen. So we've designed this, really, first of all, to save you time. We want to make sure you're not having to go to 1,000 different places to get the information, to improve best practice consistency, because again, we know that certain best practices can have a huge impact on your goals. And so we want to make sure everybody's following those best practices. And then creating accountability. We want to make sure as managers, we know who's doing what, we can help them improve, and we can, keep track of people who need to improve. So just a couple of concepts for you. As you probably know, posting without a picture can drastically decrease engagement on Facebook, especially among journalists. So 150% fewer likes, 65% fewer comments. If you don't have a link, this is obvious. Obviously, no one's going to click on it if you haven't put out a link. So that's another best practice. So, this is an example of a station with a great post. It's got a link, it's got a photo and all that stuff. And so that's going to get you the highest engagement on Facebook, which is the name of the game. The higher engagement, the more people are going to see your post. And as a result, the better brand engagement you're going to have, the more ratings, the more web traffic, the more ROI potential, etc. And so what Social News Desk is going to do is actually pop up reminders, as an example, for people to say, hey, you know what? You're about to post without a link. You're about to post without a photo. You really shouldn't do that. Why don't you think about adding one of those things? And if the staff member says, no, I really want to post text only, that's fine. It's not going to stop them. But if they, probably more than likely what will happen is they'll take a second, they'll pause, and they'll say, you know what? Yeah, let me go back and add one of those items that will make this post more engaging. So that's just one of the ways that we, enforce best practices. And I'm going to let Elisa actually walk you through some of the other ways that we do that. And let me change over to you, Elisa, to make you the presenter.
Okay. Hi, guys. All right, so hopefully now you're seeing my screen, which is a view of the SocialNewsDesk dashboard. And this, as I mentioned, is really going to be the place where all the magic happens. So everybody in your station who logs into SocialNewsDesk and has a hand in social media is going to see this at first. And kind of the beauty of this and why we created it to look the way that it looks is so that news stations have the ability to keep track of all of their accounts at one time from one place. And that's a nice luxury, because a lot of stations that we work with, have 10 accounts, 30 accounts. I think that we talked to one station that had like 65 accounts. So just kind of depending on what your goals are, you might have a huge number of accounts that you need to manage, and it's a hard cost advantages if you can't really access it all at one point. So we give you the ability to look at all your accounts. You just scroll down at the bottom to keep them all in your view and keep track of the conversation. And so this is what you would see at first glance. I'm going to go ahead and show you how you post. And this is also a nice luxury from the SocialNewsDesk dashboard, because it gives you the ability to post to as many or as few accounts as you want to at one time. So then simply you click on the new post template. We're going to go ahead and include Facebook and Twitter. I would select my Facebook account. Let's just say I have huge breaking news, so I'm going to go ahead and choose all my accounts. You select your Twitter account. Right now, this station only has one Twitter account loaded. And then we type a post. So very simple. What we also do, and this is after we got a lot of good feedback from stations, we give you guys the ability to post to Twitter differently from the same location. And the reason being, Twitter and Facebook, there's really different intentions when you post to it. So that way you're writing appropriately for each social media channel. From here, you would also be able to add a link, photo, or video. There's a spell check function that's included on this. And then you have the ability to go ahead and post. So I'm not going to post because it will go out to the station's social media pages. But you would either click Post Now, or you click Post Later. And the Post Later function is really cool in that you have the ability as a newsroom to strategically post things at times of days that work best to your advantage. So say I want to promote my 5 p.m. newscast. I know it's 4:45 p.m. I'm going to be busy with scripts. I'm going to be busy with anchors. I'm going to be busy with breaking news. But earlier in the day, I have promotable stories and promotable content that will work well for me. So I go ahead and I schedule the post. I would just click on the date, or week 27th, later today, and then you would click on Post Now. So we would do 4:45 or 4:30 p.m. because that goes out to all of our viewers in an attempt to get them to your broadcast. That also works really well for promotional teams, because they're able to get their speech calendar in front of them, lay out some sort of social media strategy for the month, and then get it off their plate and really move on with it. So that's one thing. The next thing about SocialNewsDesk that really stands out is something that's specifically built for a newsroom, is what we call the frequency manager. And what this is going to do is keep track of how frequently your team is posting to your Facebook and Twitter pages. And that's really an attempt to just be, doing things correctly so that you're posting frequently enough that your users see that you're pushing out news, see that you're pushing out content rather, but that you're not over-posting so that you run the risk of annoying people. So up here at the top, each account has its own frequency manager. So the stations each decide what's appropriate. Like they go to their Twitter page and they'll say, hey, we're going to post every 120 minutes. And then the system will go ahead and let them know when they're due for their next post. So as you can see, the station is all up to date. They all have posts due within the next couple of hours. But then there is one account, their meteorologist account, at the end, which is overdue. He hasn't posted actually in a couple days, probably because he was off over the weekend. But it's just a nice way to be able to spot, hey, this account is red, and clearly we need to post to it and pay attention to it. So again, that's called the frequency manager.
And I'm going to jump in just real quick, just to mention, again, as far as best practices go, I'm sure you guys have seen the studies from Facebook and Twitter related to frequency. It's one of the most important things you can do to drive engagement and also to drive page views as well. So, Facebook themselves say between 10 and 15 posts per day for a news organization is going to get you the highest amount of Facebook referral traffic to your website. And so we know in a multi-user environment, such as a newsroom, it's going to be difficult for you to run around and see if people are really posting 10 to 15 times per day on an interval. So that's really the purpose of the frequency manager, is to make sure that, we know these best practices are out there. We know that we want to make sure we're posting a certain number of times per day so we can get that highest amount of Facebook referral traffic. And this is how you're going to accomplish that. This is how you're going to always make sure that everybody knows to be posting every hour and 45 minutes or every 2 hours or whatever it is so that you can get the best results.
So it really just becomes a great tool to be able to manage the process. I know that we talk to a lot of social media managers within stations, and this is pretty much their number one frustration, just keeping track of all the pages and who's posting to what and how frequently people are posting, because if it's not done well and it's not done right, then it's simply not effective. All right, another part of the dashboard that stands out with SocialNewsDesk is something that works really well in breaking news situations. This is called our quick post function. And what it is, it's an area that allows you to basically pre-write templates that work to your advantage. So this one, for example, is a breaking news post. It's really generic because it says we're following breaking news. Our website has the latest information. what you would do is in a breaking news situation, maybe you don't know too much about the story, but you know that you need to get it out on all your social media channels. You would go ahead and click on your quick click function. You could add a little bit more information, say you know it's a car crash or whatever the case might be. You go ahead and type it in. And then you have the ability to go ahead and send it out to as many channels as you want to, something with a click of 2 buttons. So this already has the URL to the station's homepage attached. They just click post now, and they're able to send that out really quickly. So this works well in breaking news situations, breaking weather. If you're waiting for a verdict to come back in the trial, and you guys know you want people to your broadcast or your website before anybody else's, and you're awaiting that verdict, you guys have this ready to go and set up so that when the news does break, you're able to send it out quickly, and honestly just have that competitive edge over everybody else to be able to get it out quicker. So again, that's the quick post function. I just kind of want to go over that, with all of our accounts in the dashboard, you're able to see everything that people are saying on your wall. You're able to post, and you're also able to just manage the conversation. So you don't have to go back into Facebook to be able to comment. You can go right into it to comment, type it up, and send it out without ever leaving the dashboard. So you really have access to all your different accounts in that sense too, and just managing the conversation. We watch a lot of TV stations over and over again to try to make the mistake of posting things and then not really engaging themselves in the continuing conversation that social media, is so well known for. So this is really just a nice tool to kind of optimize that and give you guys the option to continuously post and comment. The other area I want to point out in the dashboard is up at the top, and this really helps keep your team kind of on the same page when it comes to social media strategy. You always have a view of all of your different fans, the counts on the different pages. So as you guys kind of make benchmarks for your team, we want to get to 20,000 fans on our main page by, March 30th. This would be a great way for people to kind of refer to it, keep track of it, and really keep your goals in mind. The dashboard continuously moves, so you'll see an area with station notes. So whoever's managing social media is going to have the ability to just go ahead and update that, let everybody know, hey, we want to make sure we're promoting our 11 p.m. all day long, so that it's not another email or something that falls by the wayside in the morning meeting. It's just an area that, keeps people reminded of what you guys are trying to do. And then the other part that we give you guys at Social News Desk is just continuous notes and tips to manage your social media strategy. We do a lot of research in terms of what TV stations need to be doing, what's most effective, and then we really try to pass on that information to you guys through the Social News Desk dashboard as just kind of a quick educational tool that people can see all the time and be constantly reminded of. All right, the next part of the dashboard that I want to show you guys is what we call the Post Manager. This has been extremely helpful to stations in managing the entire process. So when I go to the Post Manager, what this does is really gives me a record of all of the posts that are being made within my newsroom. And you can really keep track of them over time. So, these are all posts that went out today, posts that went out the other day. So let's go ahead over here. This is a story where clearly they got new information. They went ahead and put it out to their Action News Jacksonville page. You can also see how many clicks that story got specifically. So in this case, that story only got 14 clicks. The next story got 32 clicks. And this story got 552 clicks. So imagine just having this information at your fingertips in the newsroom and seeing which of your links and posts are the most effective to drive traffic to your website, and then being able to utilize that information right away. So then you have the ability to go ahead and continuously update your social media with that information, new information, and also, gives you reason to put it in your broadcast. You can see that there's a ton of interest in this Believing Creek story, where a mother was killed. So it's just, a really good tool to be able to keep track of what's being done. You can also keep track from this one view of how many comments and how many likes certain stories are getting. So you're able to just have that ability to see what kind of attention each story is getting. The other part of Social News Desk that stands out is the ability to keep track of who's posting what. The way that TV stations are functioning right now, everybody is an admin on a certain page. So you might have like 20 admins who are updating. But you don't know who's updating. You don't know who did it last, and you don't know if somebody went ahead and made some sort of post that isn't necessarily good for the station. So in Post Manager, you're able to actually keep track of who posted what. So this gives you the ability to just go ahead and hover over it, and you'll see the name of the user who made that post. So in this case, Alfred Charles made these posts that went ahead and drove 558 clicks to the website. So Alfred gets a big compliment for the day for being able to drive traffic there. So again, this is the Post Manager, and this gives you the ability to really track who's doing what, where it's sending traffic, how much reaction it's getting, so that you guys can better manage your social media. So just to kind of recap everything, give me one sec. Hopefully at this point you guys see a PowerPoint. So again, the dashboard just gives you the ability to track all of the different accounts from one view without logging into another account or logging out. You can load as many accounts as you want to, and you can have as many users in your station have access to all of this. And it's really a way to enforce best practices because they're each given a secure login and password, so you're able to keep them, securely logging into your social media channels without jeopardizing anything. The other way that we're enforcing best practices through SocialNewsDesk is that when you do go and make a post through the dashboard, if you don't decide to include a link, photo, or video, the system's going to remind you to do that. Kim mentioned this earlier. It won't not allow you to post with one of those things, but it will definitely push your team to include the right things to get the right clicks back to your website and back to your broadcast. So that's one of our safety nets. The other thing I talked a little bit about the frequency manager. If you do decide to post more frequently than the frequency manager is set up for, the system will remind you. It'll just say a post reached Facebook and Twitter less than 30 minutes ago, and it'll ask you if you want to go ahead and proceed. So you have the option there to say yes or no. And then the post manager again, going back to the manage users and having an unlimited number of accounts, you're able to add in as many users as you want, keep track of them. And then also, if somebody leaves the station, which we know stations have a high turnover rate, you're able to go ahead and just delete them from the system and kind of move on with it. And that way they're not jeopardizing any of your accounts. We've seen some pretty bad things happen at stations. This is actually a group that we now work with after this incident. Somebody who thought he was posting to his personal Twitter page, and in the end, he actually ended up posting to the station's Twitter page, and it was something totally inappropriate. And unfortunately, he lost his job over this. And it probably was just a mistake. He meant to post to his personal Twitter page. So that way we're really protecting your brand, and then also protecting your employees from making a mistake that anybody can make. And then just kind of going back to enforcing best practices, we have stations that get huge numbers of traffic when they include links in their posts. This station specifically got 1,900 clicks on this one post. So we, give you guys the tools to really recognize that that's a great post. What we do, let's keep doing that kind of post. Whereas this other post only got 13 clicks, and then you guys have the ability to really take a hard look at it and just say, hey, this is why this worked and this is why this didn't work. For example, this post that only got 13 clicks is clearly something that somebody had, written up to promote their news show. They copy-pasted it, threw it out on social media, and did not get a whole lot of reaction. So again, just the ability to really push you guys to do the best post possible. All right, so again, the entire purpose of SocialNewsDesk is really to help further your station's goals in social media, increase ratings, promote your broadcast, drive traffic to your station's website, create new sales opportunities. I'm going to hand it back to Kim. Give me one sec. All right, it's all you, Kim.
All right. There we go. All right, so that should kick in just 1 second. But, as Elisa was saying, obviously all of the best practice enforcement is extremely important to our platform. But, there are other goals that we have as well, and that is to increase your ratings and help you promote your broadcast using social media, to drive traffic to your station's website in a very strategic way, and then to create new sales opportunities. So quickly we'll run through that. Promoting the broadcast. For example, our contesting app, the website Treasure Hunt contesting app, can be used, by your station to promote an on-air event. So for example, this is a station who was promoting a pregame Jaguar special they were doing. They were carrying the NFL game. So they wanted to promote the special that they were doing. So they gave away tickets to the game, and then they also had a sports trivia quiz. So it became something really fun that viewers on Facebook wanted to be involved with. In addition to winning the prize, they also wanted to, test their luck with the sports trivia and, read the articles in the sports section of the website and so forth. And so it became a really fun and viral way for them to promote something happening on their air as well. Additionally, as I mentioned, our apps are all really designed with that in mind. We have our elections app, which is obviously all designed around promoting your elections brand. We're actually coming out with a Which Anchor Are You contest, Facebook application, and that will really just be a way for you to promote your talent. It'll kind of be like a basic quiz. Do you have a dog? Do you wear glasses? What's your favorite sport? That type of thing, just so people can kind of get to know the talent better and kind of figure out who they're most like on a variety of different kind of quiz questions. And then we've also got a Watch to Win promotion. You can actually use our contesting apps as a Watch to Win promotion on Facebook and tie that in with your website too. So, there's just a lot of really interesting dynamic innovations that we're working on, especially on the Facebook app side, that are all really focused on promoting your broadcast and promoting your website. So I mentioned how the Facebook contest works, the website treasure hunt contest. With that, share the get the hint button, and that's going to drive clicks to your website. Also, the elections app, again, all of those candidates are clickable, so we're going to drive very targeted traffic to the election section of your site. And then again, that questions app. So we're going to, every time you set out a poll, every time you ask a question about something to your fans, you're also going to be able to drive traffic to your website on that topic as well. And then our landing tab, as I said, that's not going to cannibalize your website. We're going to send traffic to your website from this page. And then, best practices, again, obviously, if posts are going out without links, that's not going to drive traffic anywhere. So we want to make sure that, as much as possible, we are reminding your staff to include links. And then finally, creating sales opportunities. So, all of these banners that we've talked about today are all custom uploaded, all of the apps. And so you have the opportunity to upload sponsor banners as well. So in this case, that banner at the top of the landing page can be a sponsor banner that can click through to whatever link you specify, and we'll count the number of times that's clicked. Same with our website treasure hunt contest or any of the contests. So this is an example of a radio station actually that did this with Applebee's. So they just put Applebee's all over this thing. The questions were about Applebee's, the answers are about Applebee's. Even the get the hint button went to the Applebee's website where the answer was found. And the sponsor paid for all that coverage, and so that's another opportunity that you have for direct ROI. The question of the day is also a great opportunity. So as I mentioned, that web tease can actually point toward the sponsors page. So it can point to a special offer or a coupon or something like that. And then the banner on the left can promote the sponsor with some sort of image. And that's also going to click through to the sponsor's website. So that could contain a call to action as well. And then our elections app also, all three of those banners that you see are custom uploaded. So you're going to upload those to be whatever you'd like, and that can include sponsorship. And so we're going to track all the times those are clicked and give you a report so you can, go back to your sponsors and let them know what happened. I will mention briefly that we do have a partnership with WSI. So for any of the stations who are WSI stations, we have an integration feature with Max Social, which is the weather platform. So this is something that is sold through WSI, but we are the exclusive providers of this for them. And basically what it does is allows your meteorologist to post directly out to Facebook and Twitter from inside the Max box. So if he makes a map or an animation about some sort of weather something, he can post that directly out to the social channels without having to leave his dashboard where he makes the weather forecasts. And then also we're going to pull in content too. So it includes a feature where you can actually pull in all of the photos and text and content that's coming in from your social channels directly again onto that Max screen. So in a breaking weather situation, your meteorologist, when people in your area are posting pictures of hail and tornadoes and damage and all that stuff, they can just drag and drop those right into their presentation without having to, download them and upload them and email them and render them and all the long process that it takes right now to get social content up onto your actual weather forecast. So it just saves a whole lot of steps, and I just wanted to mention that just so that you all have an understanding of some of the features that are offered through WSI as well. So with that, I will answer a couple of questions that I have actually gotten through the chat. So Zachary asks, it appears that personal accounts can be set up. Is that set up per person? So that's question one. So there are fan pages, so Anchor Talent fan pages, which are in the dashboard. However, those are not personal pages. Those are intended to be fan pages which are owned by the station, not personal profiles. So you would not upload your Zachary Morgan personal profile into the system. And the reason for that is, we really want to avoid mistakes like the one that Elisa showed you. A lot of the systems out there allow for people to put their personal page right next to their professional page, and that's when accidents happen. And so for the most part, we prefer fan pages only, and we prefer those to be professional accounts only, so that everyone's focused on professional posting and not accidentally putting out the wrong thing to the wrong channel. We are actually adding in an individual user view. So for example, if Anchor Steve did not want his fan page to be viewed by everyone else for whatever reason, that you could actually separate those out by users, but we're still not going to want to do crossover between personal and professional as a best practice. Did that answer that question, or was there more? Okay, I'm going to assume I answered that. Next question is regarding a mobile solution. So yes, we're in the process of building a mobile app right now. The website is accessible anywhere. So most of our stations have, mobile laptops in the field, and that's where they do their social posting. But we're also going to have a streamlined app that's available for reporters to do something if they weren't near the truck and what have you. So that's going to be ready, I would say, probably by summer. Next question is from Nate. Is there a way to aggregate the Facebook insights from all the station accounts into an overall and unique numbers for predetermined periods of time, this week, this month, etc.? Yeah, that's something that I know is really important to Lisa. I know that she wants to be able to pull data from all of the different stations across the group as well. So right now, yes, you can view insights on a per station basis, and we're actually planning to work with Lisa to be able to kind of build that to order so that we can customize the type of reporting that you want, since the way that you're looking at doing it is slightly different than a lot of other people have looked at doing it. So what we want to do is accommodate that. As Elisa mentioned, the vast majority of this software product has been built based on somebody in a newsroom having an idea about something, and that means we go out and build it. So along those same lines, what we would do is basically build some kind of analytics solution to be above and beyond what we already have, but do so that the reports can be customized the way that you want them. Is there a tool that helps promote talent pages on the main station page beside the Which Anchor Are You app, more like a simple list? So are you asking for a type of an app, Nate?
Yeah, do you have best practices out there on how you would list it on the main station page, or an app that would just list them out, a bulleted list?
And this would be outside of the likes portion of the Facebook page, which already exists by default?
No, it would be on that same level where if you went to the welcome page, you could see to your left maybe just a list of all the different talent pages that are available on that station.
That's interesting. No, to answer your question, no, that does not exist now, but that would be a simple widget that we could probably add into the landing tab if that was something that your stations thought was, really going to benefit, that building fans on the talent pages, then we could definitely add in a widget that would do something like that. Individual user view. Yes. Okay. So we covered that. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for me? Oh, wait, there's more. How are mentions, direct messages, and lists monitored on Twitter for the station Twitter accounts? So each of those columns represents one of those. So a column will have all of your mentions, for example, and that's a constantly rotating list. So you'll be able to just, again, view all those in one place. So, rather than having to switch accounts and go look at Twitter B and Twitter C, all of those mentions can be right there in columns right next to each other. So to answer your question, you just add columns based on what you need. What's that?
I have it popped up if you want.
Oh, okay, sure. There you go.
All right, so as you mentioned with Twitter, you'll go ahead and monitor your screen. But over here, I just clicked on mentions and direct messages. You could set them all next to each other if that's what you want to do, and then that way you're able to keep track of them too. So it's its own column, but it really gives you the ability to just kind of zip through it quickly, see what people are saying about you, and go ahead and deal with it that way.
Okay.
Any other questions about that?
The next question is, we've read that third-party postings are discounted by EdgeRank, and how do you deal with that? So to answer your question, you are correct in that last August, Facebook changed their, EdgeRank algorithm for the news stream. They announced that at their annual conference. They've started to do more collapsing of posts based on content and that type of thing. And when they did this, when they changed their algorithm, they basically screwed up. And what ended up happening was that they were collapsing posts that were made by third parties. So everybody in the world who was posting through TweetDeck, and there's a lot of them, all those posts were getting collapsed. Everybody in the world who posted through, whatever, Hootsuite, everybody was getting collapsed. Same with SocialNewsDesk, Vitru, Buddy Media, everybody. So obviously that's a problem. So Facebook worked, and after about 2 months, maybe 3, they managed to fix it. They acknowledged that that was a bug, that they were never intending to penalize third-party posting in the EdgeRank or in their algorithm, but rather in their efforts to rework the way the algorithm works and collapse like content, they accidentally managed to collapse like third-party posting platforms. So yeah, that happened, but it's been fixed, so it's no longer happening anymore, and I'm hoping won't ever happen again. Any other questions about that? Okay, any other questions in general?
I don't have any.
Do y'all do any market exclusivity with this?
We do offer that as an option. That would be a premium cost, obviously above and beyond a non-market exclusive license, but that's certainly something that we could talk about doing.
Yeah. Cool. Great job.
Oh, wait a second. Last question. How many users can the system host? And that's unlimited users. So we do not charge on a user basis. You can upload as many users as you want with individual usernames and delete them as you want. And we have pretty stringent password protection because we want to make sure that, again, that all of these usernames and passwords are secure so that you don't find yourself into a position where you're getting, hacked or passwords are stolen or what have you. So we have pretty stringent rules on that, but it's unlimited users and unlimited accounts as well. So, if you want to have 50 different Twitter accounts and 50 different Facebook accounts, that's totally fine.
Along those lines, is there a hierarchy developed into that where there's an administrator and then someone can oversee the accounts that they're responsible for?
There is. There's administrative level, and that person can, for example, manage users. That person can manage the majority of the apps. So like your contesting app, your elections app, those are all going to be administrative features. The question of the day app is available to everybody because, we feel like that's a polling feature that, your average user should be able to use. But yes, there are different permissions on different user levels.
This may be a really stupid question, but you don't have the ability through SocialNewsDesk to actually create and alter accounts specifically. I mean, if I've got a new employee, I've got to go to Facebook and create that, and then I can manage it through SocialNewsDesk.
No.
Or do you have a way to actually do the whole process, start to finish, through your platform?
Well, it depends. Are you talking about an on-air employee or a non-on-air employee?
Well, either one. Somebody that I wanted to have a station Facebook presence.
Okay, if you need to create a page from scratch, such as let's say you get a new reporter and that person needs a new fan page, you have to go to Facebook in order to create that for that person. That's a Facebook rule. That's not a me rule. However, if you have a new staff person who is, let's say, a new producer or a new AP or a new manager, that person can be completely set up through SocialNewsDesk without you ever having to go to Facebook because all you're doing is giving them access to existing accounts and doing so with basically one click. So it kind of depends on who you're trying to set up.
Yeah, but you don't have your hooks into Facebook so much that you can actually start to finish manage that process. I mean, there still has to be that initial interaction with Facebook. And and also any changes you wanted to make to that account specifically, you'd have to do that through Facebook, I assume.
Yes, such as like changing a profile picture. Yes, you would have to go to Facebook to do that. We're more about the management of the content that goes out and comes back in, less so than the initial setup. Yeah.
That makes sense. Our next question, right?
Really, this is Zach again.
Hi, Zach.
To go back to what we talked about earlier, so 100%. Say we were to sign up and we start using it today, and I know our sports guys, they all have their Daryl Bruffett KBTX, their Twitter accounts and stuff like that, and then they have their sports accounts. So would each of them be able to access posting to sports and also posting to their personal account? And does their personal Twitter account then become more or less locked into our system because of that? Because I know that having control of it is obviously a big deal for a station. But as time goes on, people oftentimes keep their same Twitter accounts from station to station, just changing their call letters as they progress through their career. And oftentimes it's tough for them to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So just curious about that.
Yeah, and I think, you bring up an excellent point, and that is that, you need to have, and this is completely not related to Social News Desk, but as a station, you need to have a policy. It needs to be a written policy with every single person who has some type of Twitter or Facebook account that's being promoted by the station, because you need to make sure that everybody understands who owns that. Because if that reporter thinks that he's going to leave and take his 20,000 followers with him, but you don't agree, then you're opening yourself up for a lawsuit, and I can send you plenty of examples of that exact lawsuit that are happening right now. So you want to make sure you have very clear expectations with every single on-air person as to who owns that account. And when that person leaves, is it going with them or is it staying with you? And so once you've established that, then what you can do is this. We do not recommend that you put in so-called personal accounts. But if this is a professional account, which is owned by an anchor, it's still a professional account, then yes, that Twitter account could be added to the system, that fan page could be added to the system, and that user would be able to post through Social News Desk, again, so that you can keep track of what's what's being posted. And so as a manager, you have everyone, in one place. But what we would not recommend is for you to, for example, let's say there's an anchor who has his, anchor Twitter account and he has his personal Twitter account. We wouldn't want both of those in the system because, again, that's when lines get crossed and things go bad. So that, no, but yes, we would allow someone's professional Twitter to be added. Okay. And incidentally, if you don't have a policy like that, I would be happy to send you something that, some stations have used in the past if you guys are looking for something like that.
That would be great.
And that was Zach. I want to make sure I send it to the right place. What's your email address, Zach?
And just kind of to go over it again, I think that one of our greatest strengths at the moment is that we really have the ability to listen to stations, talk to stations, because news is our passion. And when you guys do have a need or something that works well for you, we're able to build it. We've heard around and done that a lot, so we're really proud of that.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you guys. If you have any other questions, obviously feel free to follow up with either of us or Lisa. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
All right, good stuff. Okay.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.